All right, guys, welcome to Super SourceCast episode 8. I will be your host today, Spazzy, and with me we have M.
Hello.
We're a smaller crew today than we have a lot of times, so we'll try to get a lot out of that. We're not probably going to keep it a little bit on the shorter side. So let's start with what we've been up to. So what have you been doing, M? Also, with the site and with things in general, gaming, non-gaming.
Yeah, non-gaming, work. Work gets a lot of time. Gaming, Animal Crossing, that's been going. The New Leaf.
I haven't actually played that yet. I
haven't played the new one.
The cell phone game.
Yeah.
Okay. I downloaded it, but I haven't set it up yet.
Pocket Camp. I don't plan on getting it.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a perfect mobile type of experience because I'm not for instance, I've really petered out on it, but Fire Emblem Heroes is a game that I could play, and I've never even considered spending money on because it's a free mobile game.
Right.
And I think Animal Crossing is even more of that because I can just, if it's a sort of thing where I can just check my town for 15 minutes a day while I'm doing whatever on my phone, then that's fine. That's perfect. I don't feel like I need to push to get in front of that, or I guess my campsite or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I haven't actually played it yet, so maybe I'll be wrong, but I feel like it's a good fit for that sort of mobile experience.
Yeah, it's probably better. I think from what I've heard, it's more streamlined in terms of like your daily action sort of stuff. So it doesn't have like a lot of the legwork that New Leaf has, where you gotta like sit through the boot up sequence. Isabel talks to you for like a minute about nothing.
Yeah, and I actually love the customization options that the game gives you, as far as going back to the GameCube one, which is where I started, and then for all the subsequent ones, it's just really you answer some questions at the beginning and hope you get a character that looks halfway decent.
Yeah.
But here you're like at full skin tones and eyes and a lot more control, which I think is something the game needed for a while now. I've been playing. I've been finishing up Mario Odyssey. I've been playing A Hat in Time, so I'm pretty good as far as 3D platformers with the hat theme goes.
Yeah.
Like I'm set with those. What else? There was something else I was just thinking of. Man, I've been playing Doom on the Switch. Have you played Doom on any platform?
No, I have it on PS4. I should probably play it. There is a large update file for it. It's like 20 gigs. Yeah,
I mean, really, are those even update files anymore? I feel like we just install games onto the hard drive. And
no, it's not even install data. It's just like, here, update data, 20 gigs, do it. I can boot it without the update data, but I was like,
Yeah. Okay. I'll say this as somebody who I was very close to buying it on both PS4 and Xbox One before, just because of all the sales. But I said, you know what? Let me support third parties on the Switch.
Right.
It's a game with a substantive campaign, so why not actually get it on Switch and see what it is? I think it plays and looks great. There's so many complaints out there, and yeah, if you're comparing it, if I had a PS4 Pro hooked up right next to my Switch, and I was watching them both on, then I could definitely tell. But when I'm just playing it, I feel like it's smooth, it's responsive. I haven't seen that many issues. To be fair, I'm not one of those people that looks at a video and I'm all like, I can tell exactly how many frames per second that is, and all the dips and teraflops.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I watch some of these Digital Foundry videos, and I'm like, dude, I can't. I mean, I get it. When you're really doing a side-by-side analysis, you can tell. And if you are really into it, and if you are, I'm not throwing shade on you or anything. That's fine. You can be all about graphics. I'm not diminishing that at all. I'm just saying, personally, I feel like the Switch version is definitely playable and looks good. I understand when I see other versions, I can tell it's a diminished version, but it's still pretty great.
That's good to hear.
So
I'm like
yeah,
mostly the same way about graphics and stuff, but once you start hitting like 20,
it's slow
25
down
frames
and
a
frame
second,
rates.
yeah, once
Yeah,
they start dipping below like the human persistence of vision, that's when it starts getting noticeable. But yeah,
yeah. As long as I'll say as long as it's usually if it's a consistent frame rate and it's about 30, like I usually don't have a problem. And the same with resolution. Although there are times in games where you can also tell it's like, man, it's getting kind of blurry here. I did buy Xenoblade Chronicles. Are you a Xenoblade fan?
no, but I got it.
Yes. I used to do that sort of stuff a lot on the Wii. Did you? Where I'm like, well, I need to support a certain genre so that Nintendo tries to keep making games. Or
No,
uh,
this one just like seemed interesting enough. It wasn't a matter of
okay,
like I didn't feel obligated.
yeah, I love that though. That there's sometimes a sense of obligation with people with certain games. Where like, well, I think that's the only reason anyone bought the Conduit on Wii, right? Well, it's a first-person shooter on Wii. We
Got to do it.
got to do it. But yeah, I haven't got to play it yet, and I think I've just had too much to do with my personal life and working full time, and going back to classes and just all of that.
Yeah,
That I just haven't had a chance to play it. But I am pretty excited to get into it. It looks good, and from reviews and stuff, even the negative reviews I've seen. The problem is, it's if you don't like what was presented in the first Xenoblade game, you're not gonna like it. But screw that, I love Xenoblade, so
yeah.
so clearly I'm gonna like that.
I didn't play a whole lot of it, but in handheld mode, it is kind of noticeable when it like drops its resolution a lot.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's why I initially brought it up too, is because we were talking about resolution. So yeah, it's noticeable from what you've seen
Yeah, because
in person.
sometimes, depending on the area or whatever you're looking at, it'll sometimes drop to like almost half of the resolution.
That's something I'm not going to say worried about, but for
It'll be
instance,
noticeable.
uh,
That's the point.
Monolith Soft, they were saying they wanted to bring Xenoblade Chronicles X over. The one area where I feel like the Switch, because the Switch, especially RAM and processor wise, blows the Wii U out of the water, especially in those areas. But because everything's on cartridge and there's a lack of internal storage, the Xenoblade Chronicles X had an install which made the game fast, and besides that, it was on a full Blu-ray size disc. It was huge. I think it was one of those double-sided games. So I don't know how they're going to fit that onto the cartridge. The cartridge, I feel like, is one of the bigger bottlenecks the system has now.
It seems like one of those things where they're going to try and use the smallest cartridge possible, but they probably can go higher if they need to. Like, the technology is there, it just costs them more.
Right, but then you need to make sure that you would sell you're like, we need to make sure to sell a certain amount of copies of this at full
Right.
price because
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't Doom, like, massive on Switch?
Doom, I don't believe is massive.
There was one of
I'd
them,
have
maybe
to
it
look
was
it up. I know,
LA One of them was really big.
like the wrestling game is huge. Apparently, the wrestling game is huge and apparently plays awful.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, there's all sorts of slowdown. The graphics are terrible. It's very poorly optimized, but it also, requires like a giant install. So I like how a lot of companies have been kind of getting away with things by making like Doom with the multiplayer, by making parts of the game's installs if you want to use them, or even like with the Resident Evil game or Bayonetta, they're like Bayonetta 1 and 2, which we'll get into in a minute. Um, they're like, oh, two games for the price of one, but you have to download one of them. One of them in the collection you have to download. Only one of them's on the card.
Yeah, we saw a lot of this stuff with Vita, because those cartridges were pretty limited. So you would get like a core game, and then any other features you would get like as a download, like voice packs and stuff. Final Fantasy X was on the cartridge, but X2 you had to download, so that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just one of the concessions you have to make with it, being a hybrid. I won't say it's primarily a handheld of the Switch, but I mean, it has to function completely as a handheld.
Yeah, when you're in handheld mode, it doesn't use the full power because it would just overheat. Your hands would burn up. But
right, and right now I'm just talking about just the fact that it's on cartridges because of that. Because optical media doesn't make any sense when you're doing
not
that.
for this unit.
Yeah, but hopefully with the Switch doing better and better, if it really starts pushing out, gets to probably 35 to 40 million units is where I feel like it's really hitting a kind of a mass market stride of being like, well, this is a successful system, and with a huge software attach rate and more games, hopefully Nintendo can get the production cost of the carts down. And if that happens, because so many carts are being made, that, well, maybe the Switch tax, like people talk about, of hey, things are more expensive on Switch, will go down, and hopefully, everything will.
I don't see any Switch tax going away, but I can see them like going for larger cartridges down the line as that stuff gets cheaper.
All right, let's move on. So I guess the big thing that happened, or one of the big things since our last podcast, was the Game Awards. And I feel like normally the Game Awards don't have much in the way of announcements or anything, but this year actually was pretty packed, I would say.
Yeah, they've been getting better.
Yeah, it was almost like a little mini E3 in December. I liked it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Let's go over some of the awards first. Let's talk about some of the Nintendo. I mean, we're kind of a Nintendo focused type of site. Some of the Nintendo centric awards. First of all, Breath of the Wild won freaking everything.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I think the most impressive award it got was game most likely to make fans of Horizon Zero Dawn salty.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty solid win.
And I feel kind of bad because I feel like any other year, Zero Dawn would have had a couple of awards, and it is a good game actually. It's a game I've been playing through on and off on my PS4. I do like Zelda better. I just like because I feel like I'm such an old school gamer personally that I started gaming on the NES. I like how little hand holding Breath of the Wild does. But that's not to say that a game that has more of a little bit more of a narrative focus like Horizon, it's not any less of a game. It's just, personal taste and all that. But yeah, so Zelda won Game of the Year, Best Action Adventure, and Best Game Direction. What do you think about that?
I think it's all well deserved. A lot of work went into this game. It's like one of their largest budget titles ever, and it certainly paid off.
I agree. I definitely agree. It's good, and we saw some new DLC for it, which I haven't downloaded. I have so many other games that I'm not ready
eventually,
to revisit.
But yeah, I didn't even finish Breath of the Wild. Like, I still have so much stuff to do in that game.
I mean, would I say I finished Breath of the Wild? Probably the way I finished Mario Odyssey. I'm like, well, I did. I can say that I completed the main quest.
Yeah, I didn't hit Ganon. I did like most of the main stuff, but I didn't get to that like end area. So,
I definitely got all of the beasts. I got Ganon. I got the Master Sword. I got most of the shrines, but not all of the shrines. Like I did a large portion of the game, but it's just a massive game, and I'm at a point where I don't feel like I have to 100% games. There's so many other games out there.
Yeah, the backlog.
Right. Which is why this is a completely different topic, and I'll have this one day. I'm not really a fan of achievement systems and trophies and stuff. I feel because I feel like that makes people be like, oh, now I want to 100% this game, and I want to do. And I feel like 100%ing a game should be it's a reward on its own. You shouldn't be trying to do some arbitrary metric to show off to people. And I don't know. That's like I said, really off topic.
Oh, that seems fair.
Yeah, but I play games to enjoy them, and I have such a backlog that I remember back in the day, way back in the day, playing like Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo and the Donkey Kong Country games, and I feel like that's the first time where I encountered that mentality of, oh, we have to get every secret, we have to finish this.
Yeah,
and along with a lot of the JRPGs that were out on that system. And I feel like since then, collectathons and RPGs have gotten worse and more intensive. And we live in such an age where there's just so much to play. And there's so much to go back and play, too. From all the different systems, there's always more gems to uncover. There's so many great indie games out there.
I think another big aspect is that when you're a kid, you don't have as many games. But when you're older, you have the means to go out and buy, 50 games and not be able to play any of them.
Yeah, I have like an embarrassing number of games on Steam that I have never even started. I just bought them on a sale or from a Humble Bundle, and they're there.
Yeah.
And one day I'll get to them. But anyways, going back to Breath of the Wild, yeah, I never finished. Well, I finished it. Like I said, I beat Ganon. I did most of what I wanted to, but I haven't touched the DLC. I plan on doing the DLC. But I'll get back to that one day when I just, feel like playing Legend of Zelda again. But it looks cool. From what I've seen of that motorcycle, I feel like it should be faster. Did you see any gameplay of that?
I didn't see it in action. I just saw it. I just saw everybody comparing the concept art to Akira.
And it's weird that they didn't go with the design used in Mario Kart. I guess they wanted something to look more like it was made by the Sheikah, so I get it. But
yeah, otherwise it has some similar aspects of the design. It's got the little horse head at the top.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. So some other big Nintendo wins. Samus Returns for best handheld game. Have you played that game?
No, but it looks really nice. Probably get it at some point.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We once again a lot of Metroid and Metroidvania, if you will, type games out there. It's a very solid game.
That does seem like an obligation buy for a lot of people.
Yeah, that was too to prove that hey, we still want Metroid. So I haven't reviewed the sales of that game, but I'm glad it's gotten a very positive reception from fans and from critics. I have seen, there's a couple diehards that will never be happy with anything, but for the most part, good game, deserved win. Odyssey was best family game, and I like how best family game just means that hey, we live in a world right now where gamers take games seriously, so all of the awards go to basically T or M rated games. So we made our own category for like E for everybody games.
Sure.
And Mario Odyssey won that. I like I said, I'm still going through the Mario Odyssey post game, taking my time with it because I really do enjoy it. What did you play Odyssey?
Yeah, I finished the game and I started collecting extra moons and stuff. I think I'm at like 500-ish.
It's
like most
it's a
of the
good
way.
game. I wouldn't say it's as genre defining as I feel like Breath of the Wild is, or kind of it doesn't really change our expectations as much. But
it does take things to like a next level though.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a proper successor to Mario 64, which is something we haven't really seen. Because even Sunshine, I felt like was a little too locked into one locale and a little too gimmicky. And I mean, I know we have the hat gimmick here, but the hat gimmick actually just allows you to do a lot of other gimmicks. It's like its own power-up system, really. So once again, that's a good one. And Mario and Rabbids won Best Strategy Game. I don't even know what else was up for Best Strategy Game. And also, I never played Mario vs. Rabbids, so I don't have a lot of opinions on this.
It's cool. Everybody says like XCOM, but I never played an XCOM. So this is my first XCOM game.
Baby's first XCOM.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of the announcements then from there. Let's start actually with a non-Nintendo one. Let's talk about Soul Calibur. What'd you think about Soul Calibur officially coming back?
Never played one, but it always seemed alright.
Yeah, I know we had that. I think there was it a Reddit leak? I know they're talking about it on Reset Era. Maybe it was from Reset Era. I don't even recall anymore. No, it was a Reset Era quote unquote leak where they were talking about Soul Calibur 6 for a while, and they said that there would be a Switch version, but that no Switch version was announced here. But there's also some rumblings of a direct coming in January, so we might see that. I don't know. Personally, I understand when some large games don't come to Switch, high fidelity games that it can handle. I feel like fighting games are a great match for the Switch, though, and I really hope that in the future, I could even take a few hits graphically. I don't really care that much in these sort of games, but I'd love to have, the NetherRealm games on here, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Dragon Ball Fighters, because fighting games are the sort of thing that, even against PC, you can take with you and, get a little bit better at. But also, you have two controllers there. You can do local co-op anywhere. Anyone else that has a Switch, you can, connect wirelessly and fight them like that. and there's so many wireless hotspots everywhere. Like it's just great, and fighting games are built off of short matches, so it's really good. I feel like for portable style gameplay. So I hope we see more and more portable fighting games on the Switch. Are you a fan of that genre? Do you play any fighting games really?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. Did they say what platforms Soul Calibur's coming to?
Everything that's not Switch.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, PC.
That seems like a weird
Xbox,
way to announce it.
PS4.
If it actually is coming to Switch.
Well, the rumor is that the Switch is going to get exclusive content in the form of characters. I guess Link, maybe a Fire Emblem characters. Like I said, the rumor might have zero credibility as far as that goes. I'm not really expecting it, but the rumor is because of that, they're going to announce it at the Nintendo Direct in January.
Okay.
So we'll see. Going back to Nintendo, so I brought up earlier that Bayonetta 1 and 2 is being ported to Switch. $60, which is for a port of a collection of games for full price. So I know some people will be a little but however, I think you're getting two full price games. I mean, two full sized games. And honestly, a lot of things that came out on the Wii U came out, and were left hanging out to dry, so to speak, because it had such a small install base. So I'm honestly all about getting ports there. I think it's a good idea. As I mentioned earlier, only one of the games is on cart. The other game will be a download, being the first Bayonetta.
Now, this is interesting. The Japanese special edition comes with both games physical. It sounds like it's one cartridge each.
Do we know if there's any reason why that collector's edition is only coming out in Japan? I don't know about the sales of the game. Is it just a bigger franchise in Japan?
Maybe. I don't know. It could be any number of reasons. EU is getting a special edition, but it's different from Japan's. So the European special edition is just like here's where it's the first game is download only. They haven't said anything about a special edition for North America yet.
So, we also have Bayonetta 3 announced, but I don't really know what we can say about that. Maybe
they showed off a little trailer that didn't show much. It's Switch exclusive, which a lot of people are angry about. But
are people actually angry about that? I haven't seen. I mean,
just like Bayonetta 2.
Well, Nintendo actually owns some of the code for Bayonetta 2. Like Bayonetta 2, I don't think is ever going to go anywhere else.
They funded it.
I don't think Bayonetta 3 is going to go anywhere else. I mean, it's almost a Nintendo franchise at this point.
Yeah, which is really surprising to me still.
Well, Nintendo and Platinum do have a good relationship. Nintendo showed faith in that series when nobody else did, so why not? If Nintendo's willing to put the money in and no one else is.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting because of the subject matter, but hey, I'm for it.
Yeah, Nintendo, I mean, is trying to diversify a little bit. I mean, with the stuff Monolith Soft does is different from anything else in Nintendo. Even Fire Emblem, I know has been, part of Nintendo since the Super Nintendo era, but it's still very different from the majority of the things you would see in Nintendo.
Right.
So I like when Nintendo kind of diversifies a little bit. I would like to see more Western genres be tackled by Nintendo. I know they kind of did the sandbox thing with Zelda, but and kind of did some first-person shooter, but it's more first-person exploration with Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah.
I really hope that Retro's doing something interesting though, and something that
they still haven't announced who's doing 4, right?
No, but it's a brand new team, so it's not Retro.
Oh no. Okay, that could be good or bad.
I mean, I'm not going to say oh no, but
well, you would hope that you get like the original team in there.
Well, a lot of the original team went off to other projects and other companies anyways,
okay.
Like a lot of that original Prime team. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's been doing pretty well overall. I feel like has a pretty solid track record recently with their decisions. A lot of their younger guys, I trust them.
Yeah, that was like a big thing that Miyamoto was pushing like a decade ago. He's like, I'm not going to be here forever. I guess they're training these guys to think differently about how they design things and go outside of the box.
Yeah, be a little bit more Nintendo about things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things in the Game Awards. There's Death Stranding, which I know a lot of people love, but it still just looks so pretentious and dumb. And this is me. And I know if anyone that's listening to this podcast up to this point, so we're probably just people like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. What is this? But it just seems like such like art house schlock. Like and it's not even like interesting weird. It's just weird. Like I get bored watching like a 10-minute trailer of nothing, and then there's a baby and shadow monsters.
It seems like the sort of game where you should just go into it knowing nothing and just play it. So these trailers are kind of meaningless.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, and maybe it'll come out and maybe I'll love it. But I feel like when it comes to Metal Gear, it's interesting because Metal Gear is kind of very grounded and has some really weird moments. But also, like, the characters in Metal Gear are these weird, colorful soldiers, animal names, and they're, like, dressed like characters from G.I. Joe. And it's so cartoony and weird that it's different. This one just seems so weird for the sake of being weird. Like,
I don't think Kojima has any constraints, though. Like,
yeah, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem. We'll see, because I think Kojima is clearly a brilliant developer, but I feel like maybe, and we'll find out. Maybe I'm just being ridiculous, but I feel like certain people in Konami were able to kind of hold the reins in on some of his stuff he did, and now with nobody telling him what to do, it might just go out there. This game might be like 80-minute cutscenes of weird stuff. Who knows? Should be interesting though.
Yeah, I want to see this thing when it comes out. It's gonna be nuts.
Moving away from the Game Awards, we also had the Mega Man the anniversary party.
Yeah, that was a lot of people still really love Mega Man.
I agree. 30 years of Mega Man.
Yeah. That's like not a franchise I've ever been really into, but
I was, once again, I started gaming on the NES, and that was like a top 5 franchise for me back in the day, especially the classic. I've beaten every Mega Man game, every mainline Mega Man game multiple times. Got pretty into the X series as well, a little bit Legends. I think Mega Man 11 first of all, Mega Man 11 is something that's coming out, and it's something that looks pretty good. I'll have to say, I need to see a little bit more because I don't even need to see more. I need to play the game because Mega Man is so much about the controls, and you can play something like Mega Man 8, which looks okay. I mean, the voice acting sucks, but it looks okay. But there's just something wrong when you play it. It just doesn't feel quite like a Mega Man game. So I'll have to see that. But it looks promising. And I'm glad they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. And they're also not going back to the 8-bit sprites. It's really nice that it's just like, hey, this is a Mega Man game, but we're actually going to try to move forward a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Did they say what engine it's going to be on?
No.
Okay. I saw some people throwing around like, oh, look at Unreal Engine. But I was like, did they say anything about that?
I mean, maybe I missed it, but I'm pretty positive that they did not say anything about what engine it was on.
Okay.
I like the fact that Mega Man, maybe it's a little Mighty Number 9-ish, but he shows physical transformations when he gets his powers now.
Everyone deserves something good after Mighty Number 9. That was... I'm sorry you guys had to go through that.
It's funny. I never even played it. I was just... I saw it, I'm like, I'm not even to get involved with that. What do you think about the fact that it's a brand new Mega Man design? What do you think about the way he actually looks?
I think it's cool. It's like that turquoise brick thing, right?
Right, but I'm just talking about the design of Mega Man himself, which is actually Sakurai's Smash design.
Oh, really?
But then they made it leaner and more kind of matching with kind of that leaner anime look that he had in the later games, but even more so in that direction. But it is definitely a continuation of the Smash design in that if you look at it, he has kind of the riveting on the feet and the joints and the extra metal bits, and then just kind of the lining that goes around the like on the chest and the sides and stuff. And that lining was definitely stuff that was from Smash. And it's a little less detailed than the metalwork type stuff in Smash, and then it's a lot more, like I said, anime. And I mean, maybe anime is not the best way to describe it, but it's kind of like a leaner, a little younger, more human proportions sort of Mega Man. So
I've never really paid attention to it a lot. Do they do that a lot in Smash Bros? Where they alternate the the design a bit for the different characters, like tweak things in Smash Bros.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even hey, Mario and Brawl even had the denim overalls, you know, like detail work and stuff is added. Because Mega Man and Smash in particular was a little different because it's not like they took what he looked like in artwork. Really, they took his sprite and then kind of based that off of what he looks like in the promotional artwork, but it was very almost like a match to the proportions of everything of his sprite. And then Sakurai's like, well, he's a robot, so let's add some more details to make it look like he's a robot. So it was something that you never really saw outside of that, and now they're kind of bringing those elements into this particular Mega Man design, but they're still switching it up a lot. And I actually really like this design for Mega Man. I think it's good. And speaking of Smash, I think that this bodes well for Mega Man being in the next Smash, and Bayonetta as well. I honestly, the third-party character that probably has the biggest chance of not showing up again out of all of them, and hey, I'm not saying that, half of them or more won't be cut, but the one that I think is in the biggest danger is probably Cloud.
Because of the 7 remake, yeah.
And not just that, I feel like he feels more like a guest character,
Like Snake.
Yeah, exactly. Mega Man fits more. Ryu has a pretty long history with Nintendo, and if you're already approaching Namco about Mega Man, you might as well have Ryu come back. Pac-Man's another character that just kind of fits. Bayonetta's practically a Nintendo character right now. Sonic, I don't think, is going anywhere. So, and I'm not saying that Cloud's not coming back, and I would love for Cloud to come back. I'm just saying if someone was to tell me, yeah, all of the third parties are coming back in the next Smash game except for one, I would put money on it being Cloud.
Do you think they'd cut any Fire Emblem characters?
It depends on what they're going to do. I think Pokemon's kind of more interesting than that because I feel like the Pokemon characters we have now are really good at representing different parts of Pokemon and popularity and everything. So I can't see any of them being cut, but I also feel like a Pokemon character probably will be cut if they add more. So that's interesting. Fire Emblem, if it's a port, no, and if they're really trying to boost up the numbers, maybe not. Because all of them kind of add something, Corrin is really the only, transformation type of character. We have characters that are turning into dragons and beasts and things. So, and also the only one representing her game.
Oh, do you think they'd just straight up replace Shulk with Rex and Pyra?
No, because I don't think Rex and Pyra, even though you can have Blade switch out and do stat mechanics, I feel like they'd be a very different character. And I feel like Shulk is both the Marth of this series and popular. I think popular in Smash. Like, more people are getting to know him because of Smash. I feel like Shulk's not going anywhere.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to do that. The only times that Sakurai wanted to replace the main character from a franchise with another character was Lucas for Ness twice, and it never actually happened. He still brought Ness in anyways.
Oh, damn.
And even then, I feel like it would have been the same moveset, Whereas I feel like Shulk has a unique moveset.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't think Shulk's going anywhere. I honestly think Shulk will stay. I think Rex and Pyra could be interesting. But we'll talk a little bit more about that some other time.
Yeah.
Okay. We also had the Breath of the Wild DLC. We talked about a little bit earlier. So, was there anything else? So, have you played any of the Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC?
No, none of it.
Me neither. So we'll leave people that have played it to discuss it. We also had the PlayStation experience. I don't really think anything worthwhile was really discussed on that personally. I was kind of psyched about a Medieval remaster because I thought Medieval was a pretty cool PlayStation game, and I feel like even compared to, like, people give Nintendo, guff for it, that for not keeping up with a lot of their franchises. Where's the new F-Zero? Oh my God, is Star Fox dead again now? When, why isn't there another Kid Icarus? But Sony's really bad about abandoning IPs. Like, one generation, they'll do a lot for an IP, and then they just won't. And there's a couple, like, they keep up on God of War, they keep up on Uncharted now. But a lot of their older IPs just rot, and I'm really glad to see. I think Medieval's a cool game. it's a game that's a family-friendly game, but it's not like super kiddie. It's very unique looking. It's always been a fun series, so I'm excited for that. Do you know anything about Medieval?
I played a little bit of it ages ago. Wasn't there a second one?
Yes.
Yeah, that seems a bit weird that they're not doing like a 2-pack almost, sort of like a Crash got all 3 games.
Yeah. Do you think that Crash remasters will ever go on any other systems?
No, that's not happening.
No.
That's like a really good exclusive for them.
I would totally double dip on that for Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily. Okay. Was there anything else that came up you wanted to talk about? I know Pokemon Go is getting an update. I've never played Pokemon Go, and I'm not.
Yeah,
a big
I don't really
so.
play it. I just noticed that it was getting Gen 3 stuff.
That's cool. Is it still popular? I feel like it was such a phenomenon, and I know that it's not anymore. But I'm wondering if it's at least.
Yeah, I think people are still like really playing it.
Okay. Good for them. Also, I guess other news: Ace Attorney Investigations was ported, remade for iOS and Android, which is cool if you're a fan of that.
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting because the sequel to that game never got localized, so this is like, oh, there might be hope.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. That is cool. All right, guys. I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up a few things. Let's go over a few articles like we always do. So first off, I'm gonna do a little shout out to Nintenjex, and his Dream Smasher articles are always fun. If you're somebody that likes kind of the speculative part of Smash, I think you'll always like the Dream Smashers because it's really somebody breaking down like potential move lists and whatever. And he got this out really quick because he had the review copy, and he was the one who did our review for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So he did, just a breakdown of how he thinks Rex and Pyra would work in Smash Brothers, and the article is worth it, if for nothing else than for Nerbion's picture of Kirby with the Rex diving helmet. So that is pretty great. We also did a Kid Icarus character corner. If you people are not familiar with the character corner, once again, Smash Brothers speculation. Hey, we're a site that loves Smash Brothers. It's what we started with. And I know a lot of you, like us, love talking about it. And the character corners are for when we want to discuss what characters we think would fit into Smash Brothers and be who we want in Smash Brothers, who would be a good fit, who has a good chance from any particular series, whether it be Punch-Out or Animal Crossing or whatever. And this one we did Kid Icarus. Not saying that we think there should be more Kid Icarus characters, although to be honest with you, I would be all for more Kid Icarus characters if there's a large enough increase in newcomers and there's they get spread out a little bit more. If we get 2 new Kid Icarus characters and no new Donkey Kong characters, that wouldn't be cool. But no, let's say we do get 3 new Donkey Kong characters, a couple new Zelda characters, a couple new characters from new franchises, whatever. I would love to see more Kid Icarus characters. So basically, that's just us talking. That was actually myself and, once again, Nintenjex talking about what characters we think would be good from Kid Icarus in a potential Smash Brothers character. If you had to pick characters from Kid Icarus, who would it be? Another one I want to talk about, and I always bring up Wolfman's articles because I feel like they're always well thought out, good articles. If you like things that a little more thought provoking, but it's the holism, Breath of the Wild's Golden Triangles, little breakdown on use of triangles, looking at things from a holistic point of view, a little more for those of us that like to really get into kind of the meaning of games and do a little bit of delving. The holism articles are great. If you like Breath of the Wild, you can read a little bit more about it. So there's that one. So there's just a couple articles I wanted to point out in case you guys did get a chance to see them. I know that we have a lot of stuff going out. We have a lot of stuff that comes out on YouTube and articles. We have content going out daily. Please check it out if you like our stuff, especially our articles. I feel like, some of you guys might just be paying more attention to our YouTube content, but, we still do a lot of articles. So please check those out as well. So that's about it. So are you working on anything for the site at the moment that you'd
Yeah, a few weeks back I dug up this image in a WarioWare game that basically proved that Nintendo's been using emulators.
Interesting.
So I'm writing an article on the process that led to finding that.
That is interesting.
So.
I always think kind of digging into that sort of stuff reveals a lot. I am working on a few things, like I mentioned earlier. I was playing Hat in Time. We've got a review for that coming out, and a few other things. Nothing. A few Case 4 articles.
How far did you get in Hat in Time?
I'm not going to get too far into that. I'm about
Okay.
4 hours in, and I need to get to it to get to. I'm probably gonna spend the rest of the day playing that so I can get that review out in a timely fashion. So far, I do like it though. I have to say, kind of more preliminary things. I like the way it controls a lot. It actually feels a little tighter than Mario for me. Actually, have you played that game at all?
Yeah, I was really into it.
Oh, okay.
They've been working on it for a while.
So, what are your thoughts on that then?
It's really cool. They put a lot of love into that game.
So yeah, I love the sense of humor too. It's a good game. It's definitely. Yeah. I'll say this, and you don't compare it. Because a lot of people will, because 3D platformers. If you like 3D platformers, there's more than one game in that genre that came out this year that's good. So
yeah, it was actually kind of weird. There I won't go into details, but there are like numerous parallels between Hat in Time and Odyssey.
Yeah,
and definitely. I found that really weird because they're like developed separately.
Yeah,
but there's like all these similar things.
And there's no like real reason for overlap in it. But yeah, no, it's good. And like I said, the controls are a little bit tighter because Mario's more focused on the hat, but the actual, when you're controlling your main character and actually moving around, it feels a little bit better. Mario has a lot more, I feel like, variety. But Mario Odyssey has a lot more variety than most games, just in general. Yeah. It's a very Mario Galaxy is a dense, not Mario Galaxy, well, Mario Galaxy as well, but Mario Odyssey is a very dense game.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it. You can find both of us, everywhere. I'm at Twitter at 8bit_Spazzy. You can find me on Source Gaming. Obviously, you should follow us on Twitter at AllSourceGaming. Go to sourcegaming.info, source-gaming.com for more articles and stuff. Where can people find you, Em?
Twitter at OtherMEHM.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, had fun today. I say this all the time, too. But if there is ever anything in particular you feel like us talking about or tackling or things you want to change, let us know. Your feedback helps us immensely. And you know what else helps us? That Patreon money. So, just saying, if you have a little extra money to throw around, you're like, hey, I don't know what to do with this $1 a month. Let's have this extra $1 a month. Hey, it's over here. But, anyways, guys, had a great one. We're looking forward to doing this again. Hopefully, soon we'll have some more Nintendo news because that's always great. Can't wait for the Nintendo Direct in January. I know that's looking way far in the future.
Yeah.
But talk to you guys later. Bye.